It was a question that was asked the entire season. How good is Cincinnati? And by extension, in evaluating Cincinnati's results, their performance, their wins on the field against the American Conference. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We discuss, debate, and analyze the game we all love each and every day, not just during the season, each and every day, all year with you, the very best in the business in contributing and participating in our discussion right here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media, because I figure, well, if you enjoy the content, even if you don't agree with me, if you enjoy the content, then share these videos out on social media because others will as well. And of course, again, subscribe, hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live. We are rating all the conferences. And then when we put them all together, we will rank all the conferences, not based on my opinion necessarily. There is a component there, but based on the results on the field. So the results on the field have produced logical rankings. Check out that video, my 1 through 130 rankings, and then also the inaugural video to this series in which I explain the point system. In previous seasons, that point system was based on seedings and standings within the Power 5 conferences, but I wanted to involve and include all the results in college football. And so we're going with this season, and we'll see in a couple of weeks, couple months, we may address the old system. It's near and dear to my heart, and evaluate the Power 5 against each other. But let's continue this series. We've got the American Conference and the Big Ten, and then our final wrap-up video in which we all get together and we pull it together. All right. The American Conference won 28 games outside the conference against the other conferences, the other 9 conferences plus the FCS. The American Conference was a pretty respectable 6-14 against the Power 5. So you would expect a Group of 5 conference to lose most of the games against the Power 5. When you put them all together, they lose about 85% of the games against the Power 5. This particular season, 6-14 for the American. 13-5 against their peers. Their peers being Conference USA, the MAC, the Mountain West, the Sun Belt. So the American at 13-5. So a good indication right there, and 9-1 against the FCS. Let's look at the particular wins and the weight given to these wins based on the rankings. Here we go. Right out of the gate, there's a big win by Navy over Army. Navy had a bad season, but they were able to cap it off with a win against arch rival Army in some respects the most important college football game played every season. Navy over Army, 193 points. Elsewhere, we've got Memphis over Mississippi State. That's a number 69 team in the country beating a number 35 team in college football, 164. You see, of course, the game that defined the college football season. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame on the road by 2 scores. So they get 128 points as Cincinnati finished number 7 in our rankings and Notre Dame at number 9. Other big results in this one. You had East Carolina over Marshall. Houston stepped out of conference, of course, in bowl play and beat Auburn. Cincinnati beat Indiana. Didn't seem like a big game it actually did seem like a big game at the time. Indiana was projected as the top 25 team, and then they fell apart. Other big results. UCF in a non-conference slugfest with Boise State. Really entertaining game. UCF won that. Big win for the American, as well as the wins of SMU over TCU. The Temple-Akron game, couple bad teams, but Temple won the game. Credit the American there. Tulsa with a couple wins against Arkansas State and Old Dominion. And then also in bowl play, UCF with a win over Florida. A big win for the conference, in the American defeating the SEC again in bowl play. So again, 28-20, and that's 6-14 against the Power 5. Now let's check out the losses by the American and how understandable those losses are. So again, we rate the losses. We look at the point totals because some losses are understandable. The worst team in the American should lose to the 5th place team in the Big Ten, for example. But you still have to credit the Big Ten with the win and the American with the loss, for example. Let's look at the losses and see where they rank. Your big point total loss, not a big game, but UC Davis beat Tulsa. Tulsa was number 64 in the country, so that's a big loss for the American in regards to this evaluation. But in terms of big games, of course, You've got, in addition to that, Louisville UCF, really good football game. Louisville pulled it out, so that's a big hit for UCF as they are number 46 in the country compared to Louisville's number 56 ranking. The playoff game, Bama-Cincinnati, 125-point loss for the American as they lose as the number 7 team at Cincinnati against number 2 Bama. Texas Tech, Houston, a week 1 game. Red Raiders won it over Houston, number 34 over number 24. Texas San Antonio, one of the best group of 5 teams in the country, beat Memphis. We also have some results coming in. Marshall over Navy. Appalachian State, East Carolina. Those games in particular, when you look at the losses against the Power 5, Tulane had to take on Ole Miss, and they also took on Oklahoma. We mentioned the playoff game and also the Houston loss to Texas Tech. South Florida took on Florida and North Carolina State. UCF played Louisville. Temple lost to Rutgers and Boston College. East Carolina played South Carolina, lost that game. Tulsa played both Oklahoma State and Ohio State. So at number 64 in the country, they lost to the 5th-ranked team in the country and the 6th-ranked team in the country. They should lose those games. But again, got to credit the Big 12 and the Big 10 for the wins, but a lesser point total at 72 and 71 in those contests. Notre Dame beat Navy as well. So when you add it all up for the American Conference, you got 28 wins, 20 losses, as we mentioned off the top, 6-14 against the Power 5, 13-5 against a group of 5, and 9-1 against the FCS. It totals up to this many points in the win total. 1,847 positive points. The losses total 1,691. Your point total, 156. What does that mean? Well, you got to watch all the videos and get all the point totals to understand and put that into context. We've got one conference to go, which I personally believe is the second best conference in college football. But what did the numbers say based on the results on the field? Next up, the Big Ten. And then we pull it all together right here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football, and we will see you next Big Ten.